When teaching the down command, you want to use specific criteria. Down should mean laying on the ground with bellies and elbow touching. The first step is to use a treat to lure your dog into position. Your end goal is to have your dog wean off the hand signal and respond to your voice command alone. When you're getting ready to teach the down command, you want to make sure you have your dog's favorite treat. And I'm going to start by luring her into position with the treat to her nose. It's easiest if you can get your dog into the sit position first. That way they can more smoothly go into the down instead of popping their tush up. So remember, the criteria for the down is to be able to get their belly and both elbows touching. So I'm going to take the treat once she's not distracted anymore. Come back, my lady. Sit. Good girl. Okay. I'm going to lure her down. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. So back into a sit position. I'm going to have the treat to her nose, straight down to the floor. Good girl. You want to aim to have the treat straight from their nose and drop it in between their front legs. What can happen if you go too far forward? It's a common mistake. Oh, you're such a good girl. You did it anyway. Girl. Good. So if you go here, they stand up and they'll walk towards the food. So you want to make sure if you're having that problem where your dog is standing up instead of laying down, that you're staying closer in towards their body. Good girl. Once she's reliably going into the down position, it may just take a couple of repetitions. Then we're going to start saying her name and down. Gypsy, down. Good girl. Gypsy, down. Good girl. If you have to pause a second before giving the treat to your dog, even if their head reaches the ground, you really got to wait until both those elbows hit. They are very specific and very aware of what their body is doing. So if you teach a down, meaning that it's a crouching position without any elbow contact, you're always going to get a sort of halfway or crouchy down. Gypsy, down. Good girl. Gypsy is readily going into the down from the sit position, just with a simple hand motion to the floor. Good girl. You hit the deck. But sometimes a problem that might occur with your dog or your puppy is that you start them from a sit position. When you put the treat to the ground, they pop their butt up in the air. So a way that you can get around that is, we call it like an arm bar technique, or you can sort of make a tunnel. The goal is that you're sort of making the dog do the limbo, if you will. You're not going to be pushing down on the dog's back because you don't want to do that. They have an opposition reflex. They usually resist that anyway. It's not helpful in them really learning. So what I'm going to do is have her eat the treat. When her head's lowered down, you got to pretend like you're not going to go in the down position. Let's see. When her head is lowered down, I'm going to use my arm to create sort of like a tunnel that she has to go over. Good girl. So I'm not pushing her down, but I'm just creating an obstacle that she has to go underneath to get the food. Once she gets under, remember, I'm waiting for her whole body to be flat on the ground. Then I'm going to release the treat for her. Let's do that again. Come back, Gypsy. Girl. If you have a dog who's very sensitive to handling or just a little fearful and they tend to not want to change body positions, or sometimes they feel a little bit vulnerable in the down. They don't want to drop right into the down with the luring. You can do something, I use a technique called shaping, where you're rewarding successive approximations, meaning that you're getting something close to what you want. So, for example, if the end result that we want is them to be laying on the floor, we may even just reward them for putting their head down and then giving the reward there, if that's as far as they can go, or as far as they're willing to go. Just reward for a head bob. Good boy. Once they're comfortable and successful at that level, then you're just going to ask them to do a little bit more, like maybe bending their elbows. A little elbow dip. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Got both elbows down. Good job. So you're just going to reward, and it's happening pretty quickly with Spike, but for some dogs, your goal might be just to get them to bend their head down to the ground, and that's it. Or to get a slight bend in an elbow, and then you end your session. boy. Spike down. Good boy. Good boy. So once they're reliably performing the down from the sit position, you're ready to move on to the next step, which is getting them to go into the down from other starting positions. So what you can do is use your treat to make your dog stand and use the same hand signal that we were doing for down before, which is nose to the floor with your hand. Spike down. Good boy. Good boy. So make sure you wait until their body is fully in contact with the floor before using your marker word and giving them their reward. Do that again. Spike down. Good boy. You'll notice that even though my hand is to the floor, I keep my hand with the treat closed until his full body is in contact with the floor, and then I can open it and release it at that time. Sometimes you get into trouble where you're holding the treat where the dog can nibble pieces off, and then they're not really motivated to go all the way to the floor because they're still getting their reward anyway, despite their position. Spike down. Good boy. Good boy. Good. The reason that we want to teach them the down from various positions is because dogs can become pattern trained. So if you're always asking them to go into the down from the sit position, soon sit becomes down because they anticipate the next thing you're going to tell me is to lay down, so they go right into the down position, then you sort of lose your sit. Spike down. Good boy. Good boy. Once your dog is reliably performing the down command, when you lure them into position, you want to start fading off of the hand signal. So you're going to give less and less body language until your dog has weaned completely off the hand signal and is responding just to your voice command. Spike down. Spike down. Good boy. Spike down. Good boy. Spike down. Good boy. So if your puppy is mouthing your hand or pawing at you, you don't, even if they're in the down position, you don't want to reward that behavior. Otherwise that will become part of what they think gets them the treat. So it'll be down while chewing on your hand or pawing you. Spike down. Good boy. Spike down. Good boy! As you gain success at each level, slowly work your hand signal up from the ground until you're standing upright, needing no hand signal at all. So this command, it's harder to wean off of the hand signal, harder than the sit, because the dog is actually going to have to move in the opposite direction of the treat. So in order to get the treat, they have to learn to move away from it, and this is a harder concept for the dog to get, or just a more difficult task, really. So you really want that food. Spike down, down. Good boy, good boy. Oh, you're good, good. So if they don't want to get up out of the down position to do another repetition, you can just move around or step up or hold the treat over their head. Let's see. Spike, good boy. Spike down. Good, good, and elbow, good boy, good boy. So as you can see with our session with Spike, we started out luring him all the way down to the ground, and we were able to wean off the hand signal so that we were just about 6 or so inches off the ground. You can't expect to go from luring your dog to the ground to no hand signal in just one session. So when you start your new session, you're going to pick up where you left off until you reach your end goal of no hand signal at all and just a voice command. Now that you've weaned off the hand signal for the down, it's time to build in some duration by working on the silent stay. Nadia, down. Good girl, free. If your dog gets up from the down position, before you say the word free, withhold the treat and ask them to do the down again. Nadia, down. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Nadia, down. Good girl. Good girl. Free. Nadia, down. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Free. Once your dog is reliably performing the sit and the down without the hand signal, you can move on to a variable reward schedule by doing an exercise called push-ups. This is where you'll have your dog move from a sit to a down or a down to a sit, and instead of giving a treat after each position, you're going to use verbal praise. When your dog is done with the exercise, you can give the treat on free. Nadia down. Good girl. Nadia sit. Good girl, free. Nadia sit. Good girl. Nadia down. Good girl, free. Nadia down. Good girl. Nadia sit. Good girl. Nadia down. Good girl, free. Good girl. You'll notice that I work in variable patterns, so sometimes I'm asking for a sit then a down, sometimes it's a down then a sit, and sometimes it's a combination of the three. You want to make sure you're keeping it variable for your dog so that you're not creating pattern training where they're anticipating what the next command is going to be. Nadia sit. Good girl. Nadia down. Good girl, Fee. Good girl.